Alrighty, hello. This is Aaron Howitt with my presentation on perceptual dialectology. So, to begin, what is perceptual dialectology? The quick and short version of it is that perceptual dialectology is the perceived variations in language made by non-linguists. An example of this, for me, can be as simple as saying, people from Oregon have no accent. I would say this because I am from Oregon and I do not hear an accent. That is my perceived bias and my perceived variation between another person. Uh, and that variation would be like people from Texas have a southern accent, whatever that means. There is no, set southern accent. That's just my perceived idea. That's my perceived ideology of the dialects of different places that I from Oregon and other people from Oregon do not have an accent, while people from Texas have a southern accent. So let's look at our first map and talk. So this all these maps are from my coworkers. I have 3 maps from my coworkers that I chose to use, and then at the end I have my own map that I will explain. But for now, this is the most detailed map that I got, and it has a lot of stuff that I want to talk about. And we're going to focus a bit on California, but a lot of the references being made are due to sports because me and my coworkers and we work in sports. We work for the football team, and so a lot of their knowledge is going to be skewed towards sports. As we can see in Minnesota, there is Skull, which is the Viking chant, the Minnesota Viking chant, which you would say in a Minnesota accent. Um, there's Roll Tide, which is the chant of the uh, Alabama University football team, because they're the Crimson Tide. Another one that stuck out to me is in Massachusetts. Or no, that's Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania. Is that Massachusetts? No, Massachusetts is over here. Pennsylvania, it's Amish, which is very, very interesting. I don't know how many Amish people are in Pennsylvania, but I guess there's a lot for them to put Amish. But the main thing I want to look at is in California, surfer. Just the entire label surfer. This is consistent across all 4 of the maps that I'll show you. Not necessarily the same word, but the same idea and notion of California, Southern California, etc. They all are around surfer, or this idea of the surfer dialect. And to our next map. Oh, I just made a new. Whoopsies. To our next map. Okay, my next coworker. So, this is the least detailed map that I got, but we still have very, very similar things. One thing you'll notice is that they left California kind of blank, except they put it in a group with Nevada, New Mexico, and Arizona known as Sunshine. Now, Sunshine is a very interesting way to describe it, but to me, I kind of see it as that same surfer vibe. You're in the sunshine. You are, you got that dude going on. You got that all that energy. And so still very interesting to see. And again, this is another coworker who takes a lot of their information from sports. So that's what you see in the SEC, which is a sports, um, which is a conference for the college football. Um, and also there's hockey in the top, which corresponds to being close to Canada and how people from Canada like to go and play hockey, which is another uh, preconception. Now, our next map, we have granola as the top left. Very very interesting thing to say. I really don't understand it, but I guess that is what my coworker, and he is from California, and even he put dude, dude. That's how you say it. Dude, you gotta ride it like a wave, man. But yeah, um, but he put it down, and even a person from California will still put it down as SoCal, as this surfer dude vibe. Um, noticeably, two people. This person, and the last map also put at the bottom of Florida Cuban, which is really interesting. I guess proximity to Cuba, but it makes me think of a Cuban sandwich. Whenever someone says Cuban, obviously they mean people from Cuba, or is like Cuba. I'm guessing from this instance. Very interestingly, none of my coworkers actually talked to me during this. They all just kind of took my computer and made their maps, which is very interesting. But and then Louisiana, I think is the very interesting spelling of go. The word G-O, but it's spelled like Geaux, which very interesting way to spell it. But I guess they're trying to, enunciate the dialect, the pronunciation of how you would say it there. But moving onward, we are going to. Okay, these are all from a sports, not only sports dedicated minds of my coworkers, but all of these coworkers are very right-leaning politically, very conservative views of perceptual dialectology. All of them are actually very similar in regards to certain states, claiming that California is the surfer accent, the tip of Florida is Cuban. Very few. The Midwest is very associated with sports. Noticeably, basketball is what a lot of them put. And I think it's very interesting. And if we look at the Buckles quote from page 344, for many California residents who respond to the survey, the epicenter of dude is coastal Southern California, particularly San Diego, presumably because of the terms associated with surfers in a laid-back persona. I take this to say that this is not just from people of California. Very evidently, I did have a person that did grow up in California say this, but for two other people that didn't grow up in California, that not necessarily grew up in California, they have a very similar opinion of the state. So to me that shows that there's a stretch of pop culture to California emphasizing this laid-back surfer persona that has become ingrained in the minds of a lot of America. And to continue this point, I'll show my map. I've put SoCal here. SoCal, and I am more left-leaning politically, and I still have put SoCal. Now, there is no necessary need to put any kind of political on it, but it is interesting to note that despite politics, there is some sort of pop culture reference or pop culture rooted into California for there to be a perceived dialectology of this surfer accent in Southern California or SoCal. And as a conclusionary statement, um, you know, everyone is susceptible to making these preconceptions. Again, very rooted in pop culture and California. But very similar ideologies can happen regardless of political stance, which is where I find very interesting, because I made these same notions, I made these same preconceptions, and as my three coworkers who are also who are conservative rather than I'm more liberal leaning. And yeah, I think that is a very interesting way to see uh, you know perceptual dialectology. Thank you.